Roger that, big monkey. I got a 13.6 fat vulture. Need to acquire a drowning baby. Over. Yeah, listen, so I want to tell you guys my opinion on cold approaching. And if you don't know what cold approaching means, then honestly, good for you, man. So, cold approaching is when you approach, random women on the street and try and get their phone number. Like approaching women with romantic intent. And the term cold approaching, it's reminiscent of cold calling, like telemarketers. But the chances of a telemarketer making a sale is really low. Like if someone wants to buy a vacuum cleaner, for example, usually they would go to the appropriate store to buy it from. They usually don't buy it from some random guy calling them on the phone. Now, I'm not saying no telemarketer in the history of ever has made a sale before. I mean, I'm sure it's happened, but it's just like very rare. And also, you have to consider the fact that it's a random person calling your phone. Like, you don't know if they're a scammer, or whatever, right? And I think it's the same thing with cold approaching. If a woman gets approached by a random man in the street with romantic or sexual intent, she doesn't know if, he's gonna be some dangerous person.
Dangerous creature.
Now, I'm not saying men who cold approach are dangerous. I just think that that's what women think. I mean, some could be dangerous and some aren't. It just depends on the person. But like I said with the telemarketing example, I'm sure it's happened successfully before. I'm sure, there are guys out there who approached women and got in their phone numbers, got a few dates out of it, maybe got laid or got a relationship out of it, but I still think that it's very rare. And just like the product that the telemarketer is trying to sell, if you wanted that product, you'd go to the appropriate store to get it. And it's the same thing with, women. If they wanted a partner, they would go to the appropriate avenue, like online dating. Like, they don't have much to gain from being cold approached because what they already want is already at their fingertips. Or unless, of course, the cold approacher is like a, really good looking guy. Because the thing is, right? Relationships, they're beautiful, right? Chemistry and fun conversations, all of that, it's beautiful, right? But all of those things, they tend to happen naturally, right? Whether it's through your own social circle, school, or even work. Now, I know people say don't dip your pen in company ink, but I think it varies from workplace to workplace. You really kind of have to read the room. Like, I hear stories about people meeting their boyfriends and girlfriends through like a McDonald's job like all the fucking time, It still happens. And it doesn't surprise me that it happens because, you're put in an environment where you see the same people consistently and you kind of know each other. With cold approaching, there isn't really a visible connection other than looks, because that's really the only thing you have to go on by, unless, I don't know, they're wearing a t-shirt of your favorite fucking podcast. I don't fucking know. I'm not telling guys to not do it because, that's their free will. If they want to, approach women in the street, that's completely fine. That's up to them. But I'm just giving you my opinion and why I don't want to do it personally and why I wouldn't do it personally. I mean, I did cold approach a few times, but that was like a long time ago, buddy. You want to talk about like ancient mixtapian law? When I was 17, I used to cold approach women. But that was because I was just a kid, 17, it's like you don't really know better at that age. I wasn't successful in any of my cold approaches, by the way. But I was still just a very curious boy. Like, I really just wanted to go out and meet some women because I didn't really have that option in high school because I went to an all-boys school. I should probably make a video about that too. I still remember my first cold approach. I was 17 years old, fresh out of high school. I think this was like I want to say like about a month or so after high school graduation, right? I was somewhere in the botanical gardens of the CBD. There was a bench, and in front of that bench, there was a very nice looking pond, and there was a woman sitting on that bench. It was an Indian girl. I think she was in like her late 20s or something, if I recall correctly. Went up to her and said, "Hey, is it alright if I sit next to you?" And then we chatted, and I don't fucking remember what we talked about. This was like 2017. Long time ago. I shot my shot, asked for a phone number, she turned me down, and it was whatever, right? But in hindsight, I think 17 is like a really bad age to start. Because that's like kinda illegal, so. Or at least if you're getting involved with someone in their late 20s, you could get them in trouble, so. Yeah, don't do that. But yeah, that was like, my personal experience with it. So you might be asking, okay, so what about like a club or a bar is alright to approach women there? And I would say it's more socially acceptable to approach women at bars and clubs instead of like random women in the street. Because if you have the courage to approach random women in the street, I would much rather you use that courage in like a bar setting, right? Or at least that's what I thought would be the solution, but here's why it's not, right? It's 2022, right? People don't meet their partners in bars and clubs anymore. It's just how it is. Times have changed. Now, I'm sure it's happened before, but I didn't think it's as common nowadays. I think there was even a survey that said, like, the question was, is it socially acceptable to strike a random conversation with strangers? And older people tended to say yes, whereas younger people tended to say no. So there's definitely a generational change. Like these Redditors and just people in general, they act like it's your fault, and if you're not successful with women, then, it must be your fault. It's 100% your fault, and yeah, you just fucking suck. But that would be a just world fallacy, which implies that everything in this world is fair, and if you work hard, eventually it'll pay off. That's true, but it's not true for everyone. Like, saying that it's true for everyone would be a just world fallacy. Like, you're implying that the world is 100% just and fair. But it's not. And we need to acknowledge that there are like 7 billion people in this world. Of course, some of them are gonna be lonely, and I guess those people just happen to be people like you and me. And anyway, I don't even know why you'd want to meet women at the bar anyway. I think it's very, or at least for me, I'm really speaking for myself here, but that type of environment, it's not really suitable to my lifestyle. Like, I don't drink that much. I'm not the type to party a lot. But my lifestyle doesn't put me in a position where I'm in contact with people on a regular basis. At least not with strangers. It's like how I was talking about like a few videos ago. I don't like to pretend to be someone that I'm not. Because in order to like thrive in a bar environment, if you want a cold approach, you kind of have to be outgoing. Not saying that's a bad thing, but I'm just like not outgoing unless I'm with friends. And you can't force yourself to be outgoing, especially for a stranger. It's like nigga, if you want me to be outgoing, then you have to earn that shit. I'm not gonna act like a hyped up fucking animal just to entertain you for the night, especially if it's for a woman. Oh, right, I didn't even touch base on POA. So again, if you don't know what POA is, honestly, good for you. But for those who don't know what it means, it stands for pickup artist. They're basically like these fucking losers who like, they sell courses about cold approaching and fucking cold approaching boot camps. Why do they keep using the term boot camps? It's such a... Like, why the fuck does every single POA course selling loser uses the term boot camp? Like, this is some fucking World War III shit. And again, it falls under the just world fallacy. Like, these POA people, they're like, if you buy my course, then you will get bitches guaranteed 100% because you are the one that's at fault here and no one else. Pickup artists are just losers selling courses to even bigger losers. Maybe loser is a bit harsh of a word to use on people who buy into this shit, because you do have to understand that they're very vulnerable men. Like, they feel like they have nowhere else to turn to for dating advice. And self-improvement is good, but not if you're being mentored by some fucking pervert. Creep. Ugh. I do not like using that word, creep. I hear fucking Floyds use that term all the time. It's really fucking stupid, but I can confidently say that I think POAs are really fucking creepy. And when you hear me use the word creepy, then you know they're fucking creepy, dude. I saw a thread on r slash morbid questions, and the question was something like, wait, let me just find it now, actually. Okay, yeah, here it is. Were there any real life evil people who are funny? Funny villains are a thing in fiction, but I wonder if they also existed in real life. And you know, there's some interesting answers like Bill Cosby, you know, Brenton Tarrant. All of those are very valid answers, I agree. And to be honest, I'd probably put myself on that list too. But I would also put pickup artists in that category. Like, that would be my answer to that question. Because it really is funny in a way, because what is more comical and funny than manipulating these fucking poor guys into paying you for pretty much nothing in return? In fact, you get mentally damaged in return because your mind is filled with all of these lies and lies. And yeah, I would go as far as saying that POA people and like these alpha male YouTubers, they're evil. They're genuinely evil. I don't think you need a boot camp or any fancy manipulation tactics to get laid, but, you know, hey, what do I know? I'm an incel. So fuck, you know, I could be wrong, you know, I'm not closed-minded. And like with telemarketing and cold approaching, I'm sure people have had success with POA too. Maybe it's genuinely helped people, but I just think just like the culture around it for the most part, it just strikes me the wrong way. Like, that's all. There's nothing wrong with flirting with women. If flirting with women didn't exist, then none of us would fucking be here. That's why I cold approached women when I was 17. Now, at that age, I never identified as, you know, a POA or anything like that. Like, even back then, I thought POA was kind of cringe. I've always thought it was stupid. Because there's a difference between cold approaching and POA. The moment you dabble into this fucking POA culture shit, like, you're far from being helped. Like, it's fucking over for you. Like, I might be an incel, you know, but I wear it. But POAs are the biggest walking sticks of virgin that I've ever seen. You know, somehow r slash seduction manages to come across more virgin-y than r slash forever alone. It's funny how that works, right? And that's fucking big coming from me because I never usually use virgin as an insult, but I do object morally at making money from like selling courses teaching you like how to cold approach. Like, oh yeah, you gotta use these fancy manipulation tactics. You gotta play mind games. You gotta have game, which, listen, okay? There's no such thing as game, alright? Like, what these people call game, okay, it's just basic social skills, like flirting and eye contact. Like, that's not a game, that's just being a normal fucking human being. Like, you think women like you because game? I'm just gonna guess that, you know, women only like you because you're, like, good looking, bro. It's nothing to do with the game. I think that's partially why normies get so triggered by the black pill. Because you're basically saying, hey, your personality isn't the reason why, you know, you got your girlfriend or your hookup or whatever. Like, normies think, oh, it's just my personality. Yeah, look how fucking great I am. So when you tell that same normie, look, listen, it probably wasn't your personality. Like, I'm just saying, like, what is so amazing about you that makes you different from all of the other fucking NPCs in this world? So that's why normies get triggered by the black pill. You're basically telling them, hey, dude, like, you know, just turn it down a bit. You're not that special. The only reason why you got your girlfriend or your hookup was because of your looks or your money or your status. You know, all of these things being very superficial traits in a partner. With the exception of money, I guess. I think that's, you know, that's one of the few things that, you know, I would show for. I think it's, especially if you want to start a family, right? I think it's very important to, you know, have money. Don't gotta be rich or anything, but it's important to be financially stable. So wanting someone for their money, although it's kinda superficial, but it's definitely not as superficial as like looks or status. You know, looks and status, you know, those two traits are very trivial traits that, you know, really shouldn't matter if you're looking for love and you want to start a family. I'm not necessarily advocating for beta bucks or anything, but I'm just saying if you do want a beta bucks, do it for the right woman. But if you just want a friends with benefits, then I don't think women should care that much about how much money you have in your pocket. I mean, they do care, but I'm just saying they shouldn't care if they're just looking for sex only and they don't want to start a family. So with the POA thing, my advice is look, just don't read into it too much. Just present yourself to women like how you would normally. That's like one of the few stereotypical advices that I agree with. Just be yourself, bro. But like, unironically, that's literally it. And read social cues. That's it. It's just being a normal human being. So yeah, POA is stupid, but with cold approaching, I do understand why people do that. And I'm not talking about cold approaching with the mindset of a POA. I'm talking about someone who's cold approaching and they don't have the mindset of a POA. Like they're just a regular guy, like how I was when I was, 17, going around cold approaching. Yeah, I do understand why regular guys do cold approach because online dating, it's really not in your favor if you're a man. I want to say it's almost analogous of a bunch of sperm cells entering a vagina. You have all of these millions and millions of sperm cells just competing to be the winning sperm. That's pretty much what online dating is because like even if you're like the most ugliest woman, you can still get so many messages, hundreds even, not even exaggerating. It really feels like a competition sometimes. And if you complain about it, then people are like, oh, you're just bitching. Oh, you're just whining. Oh, you're just this and that. Oh, it's your fault. Again, just world fallacy. I just don't think you have a very good success rate in online dating if you're a man. And your body, well, actually, I don't think your body matters that much. I mean, let's be real. I mean, the muscles, yeah, if you're left, it does help. But I mean, if it's overshadowed by. If your face doesn't fit the Hollywood portrayal of what an attractive guy is, then I don't think muscles would help that much. I think if you want to lift, do it because you want to. Do it because you want to take care of your body. But don't do it because you want to attract women. I mean, that's kind of cocked. Doing anything for women. Ha! Imagine doing something in devotion for a woman. Ha ha he. So, like I was saying, I do understand why people cold approach. It's because online dating is just a competition, and most men don't even get to even have a chance to talk with women online because they don't match with them or, they don't reply at all or whatever. So that's why, from what I'm guessing, I think that's why people cold approach because when you approach a woman in real life, she can't unmatch you in real life. She can't block you in real life. So I think to some extent, women's pickiness have resulted in guys approaching them randomly in real life. Because, like, they're not going to get any action online. But I do get why women are picky when dating online because if you're a woman and you have hundreds of guys at your fingertips, it's hard to not be picky. So I think online dating is pretty much the number one reason for inceldom. Which brings me to warm approaching. Now, I'm not sure if this is like an established term or anything, but that's just what I'm gonna call it, alright? The thing that I'm about to talk about. So, I would define warm approaching as approaching a woman in your social circle. Now, if you don't have any friends, then obviously that's not an option, but that's like a whole nother topic that I might have to cover. But I think warm approaching would be a much better meta than cold approaching. Maybe you're in a Discord server with a lot of people in your area, like Jordan's Discord server, for example. I hang out in there every now and then. I'm not really active in like the text chat, but whenever I see, Gavin and Jordan voice chatting, I'll hop on. And then eventually more of Jordan's friends will hop on the chat and, I'll talk with them. And honestly, it's a good time. I really feel like that's like way more of a good time than I'll ever have at a bar setting. Because it's just not my lifestyle. So how about this, right? Instead of going to like random bars to meet women, go join like random Sydney based Discord servers and just start voice chatting with random people. Or like wherever city you're from, I'm just using Sydney as an example. Now, I'm not sure where you'd be able to find these servers, maybe like a website or something, like a Discord servers list website. Maybe have a look in the 4chan soccer board, the socials board. Maybe you could find like an Australian based Discord server there, or maybe on Reddit. But then again, why the fuck would you want to meet up with a Redditor? But if you do, you can flip through, random Discord servers that are based in your area until you find one that sticks out and you really enjoy the people there. And then you become a regular there, much like at a bar. And then eventually you become like a recognized member of the community of that particular Discord server. And then, maybe you can do like meetups with them. Personally, I've been through like some Sydney-based Discord servers, just out of curiosity's sake, but I never really, went anywhere. So luck is a factor, but it is worth a shot. I'm kind of settled into Jordan's Discord server now. Out of all of the regulars, I would say about like 60% of the regulars are from Sydney, where I live, and the remaining are like, all over Australia. So it's environments like that, places like Jordan's Discord server, where, you're somewhat of a regular. I feel like that would be like a more socially acceptable place to, warm approach women there. I mean, not that I would personally. I mean, not in Jordan's server at least. There's women there, but none of them that I'm personally interested in. Now, would I do that in a different server? Absolutely. If I become a regular there and I like the people there, then yeah, I would. I would shoot my shot. So yeah, I think if you have the courage to cold approach, I would much rather you use that courage to warm approach instead. I mean, you could also ask your friends to introduce you to someone. I think that's probably the most mechanically viable meta in 2022. You just gotta know people, Just gotta be lucky. Like, I once asked Feminine if she could, like, introduce me to her friends so I can, like, date them, but she said she doesn't, like, want her friends to date misogynists, so, yeah, you know what? That's fine. It's whatever. Kind of respect that. But, if you do have, like, female friends, you could, like, ask them to, like, set you up with someone. Discord servers, that's just, like, one of many forms of warm approaching. I'm sure there's more that I can't think of off the top of my head right now. Habbo Hotel! Yes. Well, Habbo Retros to be specific. And if you don't know what Habbo Hotel is, it's basically like this game where you can create your own rooms and you can see other people's rooms, you can chat, you can make like games in your rooms like Falling Fernie, Snake Run, Bank Game, Don't Wake Up Grandpa. That's one of my personal favorites. I love that game so much. And then there's, Cosy Change, Don't Hit My Wall, etc. So it's a very social MMO. And Habbo Retros, they're like private servers. So like Habbo Hotel clones that aren't made by the people who made Habbo, like Haboon Hotel, Fresh Hotel, Hab Plus Hotel, etc. Especially Haboon Hotel. Like, I played that game so much, man. I have so many stories to tell, so many experiences. It's where I met my first girlfriend. She lived in Sydney, and we met up with each other. This was like back in 2015, and we touched each other inappropriately. I was 15 years old, and she was 17, and it was the 19th of June, 2015. That was my first kiss. Yeah, everyone remembers when their first kiss was. That's like, come on, you remember that shit like your birthday. What a very special day. So it's quite a while ago. It was such a magical time, and I'll never forget it. Like back in 2015, I didn't know about all of this fucking Reddit armchair psychologist advice bullshit. I was just me. Didn't need, self-improvement. Didn't buy any courses. I mean, fuck, man. I didn't even know what the black pill was, or incels, or the red pill, or anything. I was just normal. That was just me. And I still got a girlfriend. And now it didn't last very long. Like, we dated on and off for about a year, but I still dated regardless. I wasn't exposed to any of Reddit's toxic positivity. And toxic positivity, it is a thing. I wish people would talk about it more. So, statistically speaking, you're more likely to get laid from a video game than actual dating websites. That's the numbers don't lie. I mean, those are my stats. I mean, not that we ever fucked. Like, I was only 15 at the time. Wasn't really ready for sex at that age, although, like, some people have probably fucked while being even younger than that, you know? I'm still a virgin, so. I still. I remember, like, my first interaction with her. It was on a Haboon Hotel. It was in one of those snog rooms. Now, if you don't know what snog is, it's basically Facebook, but for Haboon users. Like, people would leave their snog profiles in their, like, Habbo motto, and you can put photos of yourself on your profile, and people can, like, see what you look like and such. So I was in the snog room, and then she said, "Does anyone want to voice chat with me?" And I said, "Yeah, I'll voice chat." And so we added each other on Skype, and the rest is history. That's how we met. You know that snog room that I told you about? The one where I met my soon to be girlfriend in? I have no idea who made that room. I vaguely remember the layout of the room, but I don't remember anything much about it really. If I knew who made that snog room, I want to go up to him or her and just shake their hand. Like, seriously, thank you so much. Like, I still do wonder, would I have still met her if that room didn't exist? Oh, I'm getting really nostalgic. I should tell more Haboon related stories on my channel soon. I think MMOs are such a powerful way to warm approach someone. Just as long as it's not forced, like a cold approach, and it happens naturally, like it happened to me naturally with the Haboon girl. I know I said a long time ago that I'll tell the whole story someday, but it's admittedly a very embarrassing and scary story to me. I'm just scared that people are gonna laugh at me and judge me. So I'll tell the story when I stop giving a fuck, basically. But yeah, video games are great. They give me attention from women sometimes. So Habba Hotel and Habba Retros like Haboon. VR chat. Actually, that's how Gavin met, this girl he's like currently interested in at the moment. Another example of a warm approaching avenue would be RuneScape. Like, okay, if you go to World 301 and you go to either the willow trees at Draenor Village or the fishing spot at Barbarian Village, you'll find that you will always see like the same 6 people just chatting. And if you hang out there enough, you'll come to recognize the regulars. And then sometimes arguments will happen, and if you bring up that argument the next day, people will remember. And it's very important that you go to World 301 because all of the other worlds are, dead. Like, all the talkative and like social people are like on World 301. So yeah, that's a good warm approach avenue, because cold approaching and like chatting with strangers, you really don't have anything in common. Or even if you did, you wouldn't know that because they're strangers. With places like, RuneScape, there's immediately a common interest, which is RuneScape itself. And the funny thing is, look, I rarely add women or just like people in general on Discord that I like meet on RuneScape. Like, I'm just there to like fucking train my skills. Like, I'll chat with like, whoever's chatting and we'll have a good time, but I never go there with the intent of like adding niggas on Discord, but it just happened, I met this woman on fucking RuneScape, right? And we met in one of the areas that I just mentioned. We met in World 301 at Barbarian Village in the fishing spot. And her and I, we became like one of the regulars. Then, we would chat to each other whenever we were online, training fishing. And then eventually we added each other. And then we started talking to each other over the course of, I want to say, like a week or maybe like 2 weeks. Now, during those 2 weeks, I wouldn't always be fishing. Sometimes I'd be training mining. Like, sometimes I would literally log on and then immediately she would message me. And she would share some personal things about her life, and I would share some personal things about my life. She would tell me about her childhood memories with RuneScape too, and I would do the same. Apparently, she used to be a part of some sort of cabbage terrorist group, right? Apparently, she used to drop cabbages all over the place, so the entire fucking area would be filled with cabbages, and then everyone would be flashing, oh, cabbage invasion, or something like that, with the flashy chat effects and all that. Kind of like a watered down version of the RuneScape Ku Klux Klan, where instead of raiding with racist outfits, this girl would be raiding with cabbages. She would show me places in Varrock, like where she used to hold clan meetings and all that shit. Very nostalgic stuff to her. And then one day, she messaged me while I was training mining. She asked me, hey, where are you at the moment? And I said, Remington Mine. And she told me to meet up at Falador Farm at the cabbage patch. And I'm sure you can guess what we did next. So because we were playing on Iron Man accounts, we had to, manually get the cabbages. We couldn't just like buy it from the Grand Exchange. So we went to Falador Farm. We stocked up on as many cabbages as possible. We loaded it into the Port Sarum deposit box, and we were fucking set, okay? We were about to recreate her childhood. Now, our first hit was the Varrock West Bank, the one with the anvil near it. That was a pretty interesting hit. We spread cabbages all over the Anvil area and the Varrock West Bank area. She told me, you got the Anvil area, I got the bank area. Okay, go. And then that's when we did our little cabbage raid. In hindsight, it was really like a fun little play date. Like, she was like, oh yeah, I want to show you. This is where I used to hang out with my clan buddies. Oh, let's go pick cabbages together. Let's go fucking drop cabbages all over Varrock West Bank. Yeah, we're on a... It was like a fucking play date, dude. Yeah, now a second hit, it was either Barbarian Village or Draenor Village. I'm gonna assume Barbarian Village because that was like closer to Varrock West Bank. And so it was a good time, We did end up adding each other on Discord, but if I'm getting close with a girl, or anyone really, I always tell them about my extremist beliefs because, let's be real, most people aren't okay with being friends with, self-proclaimed black-pilled incels. I do that with, like, every woman that I'm getting close with. Woman that I'm flirting with, because let's be real, I was flirting with her. Because we did get along, And just to clarify, I didn't tell her about my dark side, like, immediately after our little cabbage raid. When I revealed my dark side, that was like, I want to say like a week later, or a few days later. Which for me, that's like way too long, because like usually I like tell people like way earlier than that. But as you can probably tell by the tone of my voice, she didn't really take it that well. And so she blocked me on Discord and I assume removed me from her RuneScape friends list too. And you know what? I wasn't even mad at her. Like, if you want to stop being friends with someone just because they have a different way of thinking, even if you got along otherwise, then, that's your choice to make. And I respect your decision. And I respected her decision. But what really kinda made my eyes roll was that before she blocked me on Discord and removed me on RuneScape, all of a sudden, she became evasive to my questions. You know what I mean? You know how voids do that sometimes? Fucking mind games. And then she goes on like this tirade about how like, oh, you'll find a partner, everyone deserves to be loved, and just like, and I'm just paraphrasing here, I'm sure the words were just a bit different than that, but that was like the basic message, right? It would be a very sweet thing to say in a different context, but when you're saying that like right before you block me, then I know you're just full of shit and that you don't actually mean it. And right before she blocks me on Discord, she's like deleting messages she sent because she had like a YouTube channel from like back in 2007 where she would like upload old RuneScape videos and shit like that. And so she was like deleting fucking messages that contained those videos. Like she thought I was like gonna fucking, fucking expose her or something. I mean, I still know what the YouTube channel is. I mean, I'll fucking pull it up right now. I mean, I'm not gonna show you it, but I know the name of it. And not only was she deleting messages, that's all fine and dandy. I'm not using that as a point against her. I'm just saying what I saw. But I am gonna use this next point against her, right? I wake up the next day and my fucking account gets muted for a day. Which isn't that bad, but the fact that she reported me is just plain dirty. Now, luckily, whenever you get muted on RuneScape, Jagex is nice enough to provide you with the chat logs detailing why you got said mute.
Yeah, show us the picture.
I mean, yeah. I don't know, I wasn't fucking going in on her. If I was saying shit like that, like actually going in on her and abusing her, then yeah, I guess a mute would be justified. But in this chat log, I was just simply stating, what I am. Honestly, it wouldn't have worked out anyway because she's not in my area and she's like, I guess we're just too fundamentally different as human beings to be compatible partners anyway, because like or at least she claims to be a speech pathologist, and I feel like that kind of woman would be too good for me anyway. So I'm not going to lose any sleep over some American girl that I'll never meet in real life anyway. And I knew that, right? I knew she was American. I knew that we were probably going to never meet each other in real life, but I still told her about my beliefs anyway. Mostly because I think it's good to be honest to those that you respect and want to have a close bond with, but also because she kind of pressured me, not gonna lie. Like leading up to me telling her about my beliefs, it kind of started with, oh, you don't want to know about my dark side or something along those lines, right? And I guess that made her curious and she really wanted to know. And I was pretty adamant about not telling her because at the time, I didn't see myself talking to her long term. I just saw her as like just some girl who messaged me every time I just wanted to play RuneScape. It was almost like she was part of the fucking game, like a really fucking weird update. And so she pressured me by saying things like almost guilt tripping me, by saying things like, "Well, I told you personal things about my life. Why can't you tell me about your dark side?" Your secret, which kind of struck me the wrong way because I told her some really fucking personal shit about me, like things that I haven't said on my channel, things that I've only talked about with close friends. So the fact that she was saying that, like, oh, you're not sharing enough, it kind of bothered me. Yeah, I think that'll be the last time I spill my problems to some random void off RuneScape. But I'm not too salty about it. I know it seemed like I was mad at her, like when I was explaining the whole story, but I got like nothing against her. Like she was a really good friend, but it's unfortunate that the friendship ended and it's just time to move on. In fact, when the whole situation finally ended, I thought to myself, well, that's my next YouTube video. I want to milk this story and my life is a sitcom. Because the thing is, I love telling stories. I love story videos, but I just don't have that many interesting stories to tell. And warm approaching avenues like RuneScape and Haba Retros, it gives me an opportunity to experience crazy shit like that. It gives me an opportunity to tell these stories. Do you think I'll ever experience something as crazy like that if I went to a bar? I mean, maybe, but I doubt it. There's some other women that I've met online that I told about my views that I haven't told on my channel yet. Oh, I've been threatened before. That was pretty funny. I used to be scared about that kind of thing, but not anymore. Like, if you're in a chat room with a bunch of batshit crazy white supremacists and neo-Nazis, it's kind of hard to be scared. They take care of me. I know that if something were to happen to me, I know they'll have my back. But yeah, I've been threatened before by this woman that I met on Haboon. Said she was gonna like find me or something. Well, it's 2022 and she still hasn't found me yet, guys, so yeah, I think she just gave up. That incident, I think it took place, like a long time ago, like 2020 or like 2021, one of those 2 years, I forgot. But yeah, that's I got like way off topic. So yeah, in conclusion, I don't like cold approaches because they're very unnatural And I feel like if you want true love and true chemistry, you just kind of have to like live life and let it happen naturally. But again, there are 7 billion people in this world, so some of those people have to be lonely. At least some of those people won't experience that natural chemistry and find love naturally. It's not for everyone. You can't force something as genuine as that. And bars and clubs, yeah, it's maybe back in the day that would be good advice, but I feel like women these days, they go to bars and clubs to unwind or, have fun with their girlfriends. I really don't think they want to be bothered by guys. Or at least they don't want to be bothered by guys like me. I'm sure they would want to be bothered by Chads or, whoever. I think if women want to be approached, then you have to be a certain kind of guy. And I'm not that guy. Because, like I said, it's 2022 and, things are just changing. Norms are changing. And the norm is primarily online dating. But again, I would still categorize that as cold approaching. So I think it would be a good idea to just kind of put that all to the side, cold approaching, online dating. Just kind of put that to the side and just focus on warm approaching because then you get to experience more genuine interactions. And the women, they're probably better than the ones you would meet at clubs anyway. Because with warm approaches, presumably you would have a similar lifestyle, similar interests, things to talk about. Now you don't need common interests to be someone's friend or date someone, but I think it certainly helps. It helps break the ice. But if you don't have chemistry with each other, then it doesn't matter if you have common interests if you don't get along as people. So my advice, Discord servers based on, your area, VR chat, Habbo Hotel, and RuneScape. Like, that's my advice. Some people might say, what kind of life is that? No wonder you're an incel, you just gotta get outside and, actually meet women in real life. Okay, but listen, we're not lonely because we stay inside and play MMOs all day. We play MMOs all day because we're lonely. Like, women don't give us any attention in real life or on dating apps. So why get surprised when we just want to cope with video games? Dating in 2022, it's fucked, man. Like, why would you put yourself through that pain? I guess my advice would be to make friends and hopefully their friendship will distract you from the fact that you probably might never get a partner in your entire life. Remember, 7 billion people. At least one of them has got to be lonely. So try and make friends, do shit with them, and hopefully that'll distract you. I know I say making new friends as if like that's like fucking easy. Well, it's really not. What I would suggest is maybe going on Amigo and then putting your city as like your interest. That's how I met a good friend of mine actually. Like we met a few years ago, like back in 2019, like February of 2019. And now I consider him to be, one of my closest friends ever. So maybe you could meet like a partner that way. Another thing I would suggest is, those friend making subreddits like r slash need a friend, r slash make new friends here, r slash kind voice, subreddits like that. You just kind of, you post there, you add your city, and then hopefully you'll get messages from people in your area and then you can like hang out with them in real life, meet up with them. Or if you don't feel like posting, you can just go to the search bar and then type in your city and then see the posts that other people have made. I really want to do that one day, just as like a bucket list kind of thing. So I've made a real life friend from a Discord server, which is Portality. I've made a real life friend from Amigo. Now let's see if I can make a real life friend from Reddit. I mean, I highly fucking doubt that because again, why the fuck would you want to be friends with a Redditor? But it's worth a shot. Like, I've even met people, well, not people, it was just like one guy off 4chan, the sock board? Yeah, I met one Sydney guy, through there. Like, I posted my Discord on there, like, a few years ago. But the problem is, well, he doesn't really want to meet up. I think he seems like a shut-in. Well, and also there's this one time I was browsing Sock, and I saw him, posting his Discord on there, but only it wasn't a he, it was a she. So this guy is either, a guy pretending to be a girl to random 4chan people, or maybe it's a girl pretending to be a guy to me. Man, I don't fucking know. Now, this person is aware that I'm an incel, so maybe that could be a reason for a would be girl to pretend to be a guy to me. I mean, I don't fucking know. Now, obviously, he knew that, or she, I don't fucking, like, who knows at this point. Obviously, he knew that I was an incel from the get go because of, like, because it was literally in my post. So if this person is a girl, then it would mean that she added me knowing that I'm an incel, right? At this point, I'm like too afraid to ask. Because this was like a few years ago, like when I saw the post, like implying that this person is a woman. So it would be just kind of weird to just be like, hey, dude, remember that post you made a few years ago? Were you pretending to be a girl or are you actually a girl? I don't know. I don't really care anyway. We haven't like we don't talk to each other like regularly. Like we have each other on Discord, but that's it. I've asked him like time and time again, like, dude, let's hang out. We're both in Sydney. And he seemed like, a nice person. But he doesn't want to, so it's whatever. So maybe I'll try, posting on Sock again, or like finding something on Reddit. I know r/Sydney does like the weekly meetups, but I'm not really interested in that. So yeah, that's pretty much my stance on cold approaching. Anyway, thank you for watching my gay video. It's over.